Hello everyone, my name is Nagarib Jawan and this is the Asking About the Law channel where we have free and honest conversations on the nexus of law, technology, trade, tech, finance in Uganda. So today on the show, we have Arnold. Arnold is here to help us navigate through the conversations and inquiries that came from you in regards to company and business registration and the big elephant of taxation. Arnold, say hello to the people.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Eve Nagawa. Our dear viewers, thank you for joining us. I am Arnold Kisembo Rangakuramia from kisemboacademy.com. I do business-related content on YouTube. That is Kisembo Business, where I do accounting tutorials, I do taxation tutorials, I also do quantitative techniques tutorials. I also do physics and mathematics tutorials on another channel called Kisembo Academy and Kisembo Math. I'm here to answer some of your questions. Thank you for having me, Evelyn.
Thank you, Arnold. So the questions that we have that we're addressing in this video are from all the questions that were raised on the Ask Me About the Law channels, which is TikTok, Instagram, and other social sites. So if you have any more questions to this effect, please leave them in the comment. Also, small takeaway, I am relearning my math from Kisembo Academy because in my profession, there is a reason why I ended up where I am now. I think math stopped mathing in like senior 2-1. That's when math stopped mathing, and I knew that council or things in along that line, the law were my alternative. Anyway, without wasting any further time, so this question came in from TikTok. Someone was asking, I'm not quoting people's names because it turns out we run a poll and people are not comfortable with having their names cited. So I'm not saying names, but someone from TikTok suggested or inquired, if I register for VAT, how is it accessed? And is it determined? And is it mandatory to pay and file returns monthly or only when you earn? And how do I claim? Very many questions.
Okay, those are very many questions at a go. You'll be reminding me one by one in case.
Yes, so I think so let's start with the first one.
Yeah.
If I register for VAT, how is it accessed?
Okay, if I registered for VAT, how is it accessed? For starters, of course, before you even register for VAT, you already have a TIN number. That's not registered for VAT. Not everyone that has a TIN number is eligible to be on the VAT register. There are certain requirements that you're supposed to first fulfill for you to be on the VAT register. First of all, you're supposed to have made sales of at least 150 million in the last 12 months. If you hit that threshold, you're eligible to register for VAT. Of course, the other requirements are that you're supposed to have a fixed place of abode or business premises. You must be a kind that does not, you do not have a history of tax evasion or involving in tax crime. You should show that you're competent and you have proper records and that you're the kind of person that they can rely on for reliable and timely returns, because VAT, when you register, you're supposed to be filing these returns every month. Now, not everyone, it's not that everyone has hit that threshold of 150 million. There are some people that they want to register for VAT probably because they are probably bidding or they are dealing with people who want them to be on VAT in the business fraternity, and they've not hit that threshold of 150. So how about those ones? So for those kinds of people, it is if let's say you've won a contract and the nature of the contract shows that you anticipate that you'll be able to hit that threshold in the future, you can still use that and you'll still be registered for VAT. So it's either 150 million in sales in the next in the future, like next 12 months, or that you can make 30. If you divide that by 12 months, that is around 37.2 37.5 million per quarter. So if you can demonstrate that you show them that threshold bit on whether it's in the past or in the future like that, and then you have a fixed place of abode, like your business premises are there, you show that you're fit, then you can register for VAT.
And what do you mean by fixed premises of abode? Some of us,
like you must have like premises. We have a lot of briefcase companies flying around. It's a company, but it doesn't have premises. URA wants to know that if it needs to get in touch with you, it knows where to find you. That is why it's a requirement that you should have where they can find you. So it's part of they'll have to come and inspect your premises before they can give you that VAT.
So on that note, companies that are in the startup ecosystem, right? Most of them use services where, let me say, there are all these projects that can house so many startups, and they share the same address. Like, I don't want to say names, but you get what I'm trying to say. Startups, they're these organizations that host them. They also allow them to use their premises. So that means you can rent an office for a day or just a meeting. Like your startup can be virtual, but you have a PO box number, and the PO box number is for this initiative, this organization, which hosts also several other startups. So what would be your comment in regards to VAT and those types of startups?
Well, my comment on those kinds of startups that are on the move, they do not have offices.
They don't have offices. Maybe in their starting up scale, it's not yet viable, because remember, money is tight and it has to be designated to specific projects. You're building it, you need to invest the money in, let's say, running the code in the background and all that. So getting a physical location at this point in time is not something viable. But there are solutions that allow you to do that. Which are these projects, these organizations? You all share like a communal PO box number, not PO box. Okay, it's like a communal physical premise. But if anything comes to you, they can locate you from that premise, although you do not have a physical office there. Because for them, they give you office space, you show up. Like, let's say I have a meeting on Monday. My project is based online, but if I have a meeting, I can wear a suit and show up and have an office for like 3-4 hours. Now,
there is what we call the official position of Uganda Revenue Authority. They expect VAT registered people to be on, to have physical places of residence where they can find them. That is the official position. However, there are always variances. There are always cases that are unique. So in a case like that is unique, now that is a matter to be taken up by the officers in charge to grant you. You explain the unique circumstances, so they assess you based on your unique case, and they are able to either advise you on what to do and grant you the VAT or not. Because at the end of the day, you want to be paying taxes, they're interested in the taxes you're going to pay, and they're supposed to be enabling your business. They're supposed to be helping you do business, not frustrate you. So where the cases are unique, there are unique circumstances, it is a dialogue between you and the commissioner. Otherwise, besides that, the official position is you must have an address where you can be found. Yeah.
Okay, on to the next question. Is it determined and is it mandatory to pay and file returns monthly or only when you earn?
Once you get on the VAT register, it is mandatory that you are supposed to file, whether you are in business or not. Now, we are in a regime of, in Uganda, we do self-assessment first. First, declare to your taxman that this is how I have transacted, and that is that is how we file a return. When you're filing a return, you're declaring to the taxman that this is how I have transacted in this period. So if you have not done business, let's say you've been in the lockdown or things just didn't go, there's nothing. If you don't report, the taxman is not going to know that you didn't work. To them, they expect that this guy is not being tax compliant. So they will issue assessments, they will come after you. Because to them, their projections are that in this quarter we are supposed to raise this amount of taxes, and in their projections we are being considered as one that will be contributing to that. So if you've made business during a certain month, you're supposed to file. If you didn't work, declare it in a return, file it in return. The thing is, the moment you go get VAT registered, you're expected to file every month within the first 15 days of every month. So it is mandatory.
So what are is there any repercussion if you do not file monthly?
Yeah, if you do not file monthly, you skip a month without filing, it means you've not declared. There's what we call a default assessment. So they'll issue a default assessment. They will use some estimates to say to assess you that you didn't declare this. So they issue a default assessment for not filing. And yeah, and assessments is more like a businessman's worst nightmare when it comes to URA. You do not want URA to assess you. You are better off assessing yourself. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the last question they ask is, how do I claim?
It is done in the return. Once you file your return, your input tax, your output tax, if you're, of course, the difference between the two figures, the input tax, the output tax, if the input tax is more and it is more than 5 million by law, you are required to claim. It is a detail within the return. I don't know. I have recorded a tutorial on how it is done. Like
then we're definitely going to leave a link to that video, because I think I've watched. Yes, it's like 2 hours, very detailed.
Yes.
I've watched it.
Yeah, so it is okay. There's somewhere within the return where you can either say this is either a cash offset, like you carry your tax credit, your claimable amount to the next month, or you can decide to claim it, but you only claim if it is more than 5M. And once you click on that claim, then the process begins. It's about filing your return like that. Then you start following up with your tax office. Every team number has a supervisor. There's a supervisor in charge of some team. So it's a matter of reaching out to URA. You're like, when I filed this return, I claimed in the return, like I claimed a refund. So I've come to follow up, and they should be in position to tell you on the next stages on how to do so. Of course, it's going to involve an audit. Your claim is supposed to be authentic. Many people fear the sense of being audited. But yeah.
But you cannot blame it. But I think it goes down to, if there's nothing, you don't have anything to hide.
Yeah.
It's tedious, it's lengthy, but if you don't have anything to hide,
they'll do an audit, then they'll refund your money. The processes, like when you reach out to follow up, they're in position to guide you on the next stages, and yeah, your refund comes through.
Still, I think I would rather not let it.
That's what we would do. Yeah,
I would rather not let it get to an audit. I would rather. Anyway, next question. So someone is asking, knowledge on tax returns in relation to companies. I think you address this on your channel. There's a whole tutorial
Yeah,
to this.
yeah.
Maybe you could just give a 1 minute slight headliner on this, and that, and then we will put a link in the description box of that specific video. You have to watch it. It is very detailed.
Okay, now tax returns in relation to companies. Now, when it relates to companies, tax returns, there are, when you open up a tin for the company by default, definitely you are earning income, so income tax is default, compulsory. And income tax is something that you file annually. So you're supposed to pay income tax by virtue of the fact that you've opened up a tin. Now, the other taxes will really depend on your nature of business. So, and those other taxes, to add them to your tin profile, it is something that you do online. You amend your tin to include those details. So, so income tax, that is compulsory. Then the other taxes, if you have employees, then you have to do pay as you earn. If you have you have to do pay as you earn. If you meet the VAT threshold and you're dealing in taxable supplies, you have to register for VAT. If you are a factory that is dealing in excisable goods, then there's local excise duty. Yeah, so the thing is, income tax is default. Then the other taxes depend on your activities, and definitely, well, if this is the part where I'll tell you, go and ask your tax advisor or your business manager, or reach out to a URA office. Well, because now the other taxes, like besides income tax, the other taxes that you are supposed to either register for or not are going to depend on your circumstances. And now,
depending on your specific type of business. Yeah, now, I think even now, this one things, yes.
So now that one, you need to interact with somebody and explain to them that I deal in this, I deal in that. What taxes should I pay? Yeah.
And all these other taxes will be factored into when they are looking in regards to you coming back to file for VAT, or when you are claiming VAT, right?
No, the VAT.
Like your sister.
Pardon?
I'm saying, remember when you said one of the requirements of VAT is your tax history, your compliance history in the past. So these are the taxes that are specific to your business.
Well, if you've not, if there is no record that you have participated in any tax crimes, it means you're a clean person. It is rare that you will find those cases where people have participated in significantly serious tax crimes that will deny them VAT registration when they want to. But yeah.
So this question, someone is saying, I do not want to register. I don't want to register my company because taxes are too high. If I continue operating without paying taxes, my business will thrive.
You do not want to register for taxes because the taxes are too high. If you do not register for taxes, your business will thrive.
Yes.
Now, truth be told, there are so many people right now that are not registered for taxes. They do not have a TIN number. They are doing business and they are thriving. It is true. URA is very aware of that. The tax burden is on very few people, and because and it is working to extend the tax register to reach out to as many people as possible. That's why you hear of initiatives like TREP, that is it tax registration and expansion program, TREP. People reaching out to different type people to make sure that people register for taxes, and they expand the tax register so that the tax burden is not just on a few. Now, What I can say to that is that you're a small business person or something, you can do business without registering for taxes and you can go away with it. But as time goes on, it's going to become increasingly difficult to operate without being tax compliant, especially if you are interested in going big or expanding your business, because there are initiatives to make sure that more people are included. For example, look at this EFRIS thing, the EFRIS initiative. It is forcing a lot of people to come on board unwillingly, a lot of businessmen. Why? Because now it is in such a way that if you do not give me a fiscalized invoice, you're not going to supply me, because I can only claim input VAT if it is backed up by an EFRIS invoice. So the other person, for him to stay in business, he has to register for taxes, and then they have you. And then now, for you to be able to get a business license, you must have a team. It's now a requirement. Yeah. So you might be up country, I don't know.
I think that also, maybe the other observation I've noticed to this effect is how they try to enable that. Like you said, if your business is seeking for expansion, you have to, because almost every the next step, it's like a requirement. You need to have your T number,
Yeah, and
then you also need to have your paperwork of incorporation. So they're like, the whole system is intertwined.
Intertwined, yeah, the ecosystem.
At one point, you will have to.
Yeah, you're going to be forced into it, and if you don't, they're going to come after you with evidence that you're not. Like I was telling you, like getting your business license, your annual license. You're supposed to have a team now. You can't get a license without
a team.
So still, you will be registering for taxes, and there will be tax obligations that come along with that. Then there is when there are people who are in the withholding tax. Withholding tax is that if I am paying you, I am supposed to withhold 6% of your money and pay to URA. If let's say we are doing business, I'm supposed to pay you for the services you've rendered to me. I pay you less 6%. That 6% is your money, but you are paying income tax in advance. It is your tax credit that you can claim for later. So I am mandated by law to file it as withholding tax. So when I file withholding, because if I don't do it, URA is going to come after me. And it will come for me for not remitting that withholding tax, and I will not be willing to pay for your sins. So instead of getting in trouble with URA, I want to, when we agree a contract, you're going to do this, as I'm paying you, I withhold the 6%, I give it to URA. When I give withholding tax to URA and I say it is coming from so and so, they will know that it is, they will know about your income like that third party information. So the thing is becoming more and more like intertwined.
They're finally building an intertwined ecosystem.
So you are better off understanding where things are going and figuring out how to manage. That is why there are tax consultants, that's why there are tax advisors to help you manage your tax affairs. It's called tax planning. So you're better off getting engaged in the tax planning. You register your business, you plan on how to go about your taxes rather than completely evading them, because I think completely evading them, it puts you in more trouble and it will limit you from growing your business bigger, because the bigger you grow, the harder it becomes to operate under you. Yeah, it becomes harder. So you're better off really getting into the tax game, understand it, manage it. Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more there. So the third question is, This is a story. I have a company that has not been fully paying taxes since incorporation. I get the penalty email each and every single month. I just ignore. I would like to eventually come clean without having to pay all these penalties. Why do you want to have your cake and eat it? What do you advise? Should I close the company yet I've already built a client profile and I don't want to lose them when I get a new name? But if the financial risk is higher, then I register afresh as a new name. Yes. I have a comment on this one, but let me first let the man of the hour speak.
First of all, ignorance of the law is no defense.
Yes, have you heard people? Ignorance of that. I don't know how many times I sing this.
It is not
knowing something. You cannot say me, I am from there, and I'm me, I no. No. Not knowing that this is illegal does not fly. And I think the fact that they have been sending you these emails every month is evidence that they are doing their part, which is communicate to you to remind you that, hey, you need to do this.
Yeah.
Also, you have confessed on the internet, so you may want to delete this comment. Just delete this comment. This is a confession.
A confession indeed. So, well,
this is a confession.
Is it admissible in the courts of law?
Yeah, what? Yes. This is, you have confessed. And if someone is diligent enough and they dig through the comments and they find this, because, you know, the public space, the internet is public space. Right? Anything you post
can be used against you in the courts of law.
Like it's general public. It's not. Please, if you posted this comment, please go and delete it. Go and delete it.
Yeah. So well.
Yes.
So what is this supposed to do? Well, number one, ignorance of the law is no defense. So we need to acknowledge the fact that you're on the wrong side of the law. So
Martinez defense is acknowledging.
Acknowledge that you're on the wrong side of the law. So after understanding that you're on the wrong side of the law, now two, like I was saying, that the ecosystem is becoming intertwined. Yeah. For example, right now, when in the process of registering for your TIN number and you're registering a business, if you just go and type in your business registration number, it immediately flashes your name, the name of the business. This information is coming from URSB. Yes. So meaning that the URS system and URSB
are in communication with each other.
Currently, they rolled out.
And you registering a new company doesn't.
Currently, when you are, this thing of the TIN, there is a new thing that has been rolled out where you just get a TIN instantly online.
The individual one.
Yeah, the individual TIN. When you go to that and you put in your NIN, you just put in your NIN, it will bring your names. But this information of your NIN is NIRA. So it means URA and NIRA are now communicating. When you're registering a new company, they need these particulars. They need your NIN, they need the individual. So they'll be able to detect that this NIN so and so is connected to this other company that is having issues. So you're not running away from anything by saying that you're going I am going to register a new company. Unless the new company you want to register, you're going to completely dissociate yourself from it.
But the record will be there. There will still be a connection. It's not somehow, like it's going to disappear from the database.
Unfortunately, maybe these are some of the things maybe we should be. It's maybe our education system, some of these basic things should be taught us in high school, for example, about taxes. when you open up a TIN number for your business, you open yourself up to filing obligations. You are because it means now I'm now in the game of taxes. If you've not done business, declare to URA that you've not. If you've done business, declare that you have. URA's mandate is to collect revenue for our country. So their default position is that they will expect taxes from you. If you don't tell them, they will assume that you've made the money, you're not declaring it. So first of all, those emails you're saying that they are penalties, they're not actually penalty emails, because you only get penalties when you file late. So
these are reminders.
These are reminders. Remind you to file this, remind you to file that. So definitely, I think it's been a while. You've not been seeing these reminders, you've been ignoring them. And so eventually when you file, you're going to have to attract penalties for not filing. Knowing that you are on the wrong side of the law, what I would advise you is be humble, go to URA, look for your supervisor, tell them this is the situation. Because, for example, there are people who have not been filing because they were out of business because of COVID. They locked. There are reasons why you've not been filing. Either you've been out of business, either your business shut down. This is something that you can talk to with them. And then they can either reduce on your penalty, or you discuss a payment plan, and you discuss a way out, a schedule on how to get clean, tax clean. But to say that you're going to ignore it, start another company, and ignore this one, with these ecosystems, the way they are intertwining, that is going to be hard paper. Eventually, they'll catch you eventually. So you're better off getting into the trouble, understanding the magnitude of the matter, and looking for a solution than running away from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yes, I think question 3 is done. So then they're asking, can I register a subsidiaries company under the previous company name? Would it be independent of the mother company tax?
No, URSB, for example, when you're registering a company, is talking of subsidiary.
Yes, they're saying, I think he's trying, they are trying to see options available. So they're thinking that if they leave the other company, the one that has all these taxes that are not cleared, he leaves it as a mother company and then he creates a subsidiary. But the subsidiary is not independent. It can still, there's still a link.
It is still connected to the other.
It's still connected, so they can still make that connection.
It is still connected, and you just face the problem. Do not hide your head in the sand. These are things that can be talked over with your supervisor. You are the supervisor for your team. Negotiate a payment plan, or negotiate a penalty waiver. There are those provisions. You could apply for a penalty reversal, a waiver, like, depending on your circumstances, they should be able to listen to you, and you should be able to arrive at a solution that works both for you and the taxman, and you move on.
And I think someone also made a comment regarding this. Someone commented to this, and they kept trying to emphasize that because when you're registering your company and when you're applying for a TIN and all that, they use your personal data, which the near information. So eventually, the ecosystem is intertwined. They will connect the dots and they will find out, and you will now have 2 very big elephants that you need to solve instead of now just this very one small, not small. It's a big problem, but if you address it, then you can start from a clean slate. Now, if you add another problem, and I don't know, maybe I think that if you defaulted before, there's a high chance you will default again.
It is by nature, by default, in many human beings that they do not want to pay taxes. It is very few that have this thing of patriotism. I should pay my taxes, blah blah blah.
I honestly think the only reason I do this is because I want to grow. Like, I want to grow and I want to do it the right way. And I think, just my personal philosophy, I think if I clear this, then I can grow. But if I don't, I'm going to be worried about this and also be worried about how to stay under the radar. Like, you're on a ticking time bomb and you don't have the entrepreneurial focus to focus on actually scaling and building a business. I don't know if it makes sense. Like, I feel like I have so many things I need to worry about that I need to focus on to scale the business. If I can reduce the things I'm worrying about to scale my business like this, I would rather do it and know it's done.
Yeah, you're better off managing your tax and do it, and you know it is sorted, because if you do not take care of it, it has the potential to really be a pain to you.
Exactly. And I think maybe one of these days, when now you start having to have conversations with people now who are dealing with external funding, it's one thing when you're bootstrapping your startup or your business yourself, because you're the one now funding all the money and everything. It's another when someone else is trusting you with their money as an investor, or it's a loan. And you can't keep doing these shady things. Things have to be on paper, clear, A, B, C, D. They cannot be black and white, gray. Like, if it is black, it is black. If it is white, it is white.
Yeah, you be tax compliant, and besides, when you pay your taxes, you are contributing to developing Uganda. Yeah, so
very nice. I already see people in the comments on this one.
Yes.
So another question is, I am requesting for a breakdown of the registration. They're asking a breakdown of the registration of the tax process. This is, I think, I'll put a link to the guide on how to register your business. And then in that guide, Arnold, I also put a link in the description box where Arnold, he has a whole extensive video on how to file for taxes for your company. But then there's no like blanket, like there are the basics, but then they're now, like he said earlier on, there are basics that apply to every business. Like, let's say if someone is into import, export, or agriculture, manufacturer, there are different taxes that apply to that specific industry or sector. So you would have to know, or you'd have to talk to an advisor so that they can tell you which exact tax that you need to pay.
I think what he's trying to ask is, before we get into the specifics of which taxes you should file or do, I think he's trying to ask the process of registering a team, if I got that question right.
The process of registering what? There is registering business, there's registering a what? Taxes.
Registering taxes means you're acquiring a TIN. When you're acquiring a TIN, it means you've registered for taxes. I think that's what he's trying to say. Then the issue of which taxes to pay, that is a later thing. That's the secondary matter. I think his question is on the primary matter, registering for taxes. Registering for taxes is actually acquiring a TIN. Acquiring a TIN for individual that has already been very simplified. You do it within 5 minutes and you have your individual TIN. The process for registering a TIN number for a company, that one is still manual. Well, you download a form online, fill in that form, upload it. After uploading it, then you attach documents. Your form 20, that form that shows the list of directors. You also attach your certificate of incorporation and form 20. Then you take those forms, photocopies to the nearest URA office, and then your TIN should be processed and given for the company. Now, definitely by the time you're filing, you're applying for TIN for your company, the directors must have TIN numbers. If the directors do not have TIN numbers, then there is what we call group registration. It's still something that you can do online. It's done online. Group registration means as you're registering, requesting for a TIN number for the company, you also request for the directors simultaneously. You apply at once, and then all the TIN numbers come out at once. So I think that is what he was asking, the process of registering for taxes.
So if a director already has their own personal individual TIN number,
yeah,
then they're creating a group TIN for the company, is the personal one for your personal things? Should it be separate from your company?
Yeah, remember in accounting we call it the business entity concept. Like the business and the person are two separate entities.
Separating because when you register the company, it becomes its own individual.
Yeah, it's an artificial person without a soul. So it should have its own TIN. You, the individual, the director, should have your own TIN. And so when you're filing returns, you file returns for the company. You are also supposed to file returns for the director individually.
Oh, okay. So I have my TIN as Nagawa, right?
Yeah.
Which I use to buy my car or whatever land. Then I have another TIN as Nagawa director.
No. Your TIN so happens to be a director in another company.
So it would be in the same TIN I have, which I use Nagawa to buy car, whatever. It's the same TIN I use as Nagawa director.
Yeah. It will be quoted in the company profile. Yeah. That is for companies, incorporated. Of course, there are people who have small businesses and they are sole proprietors. They are not incorporated. So for those ones, those are individuals. It is their TIN. Remember, sole proprietor, your identity and your business are one and the same. So those ones, their TIN their personal TIN is the one that files the taxes because they are sole proprietors. They are not yet incorporated.
Whereas if you have the company TIN, yes, you have your the TIN that also applies to you as the director, but then the company has its own TIN, so they are separate.
They are separate, yeah.
Exactly. So next question. I used to do business that requires a TIN. I got one and soon business stopped, but I was taxed even when I stopped business. URA continued to tax me. How do I go about this? Because now I am supposed to pay about 2 million in taxes, but I was out of business. Is there a way I can go about this? Because I'm planning to register a company and this may affect my credit.
Yeah, that is the same as before the other guy the previous question. It is related.
The one who's going to go and delete this comment.
It's the same. Like you opened up a TIN some time back because probably someone required that TIN. You just went opened it, and then now they're asking you for money and stuff like that. Well, for starters, you see these tax things is like it is like the way you see people who are sick. Somebody can come coughing to a hospital and they exaggerate it. Hey, I'm dying. Then the doctor checks, it's just cough. It's normal cough. Just get vitamin C, go away from here. Yeah. So personally, I have people who get reminders or just a reminder to pay tax. The mere fact that the message is from URA, the person gets out of state. Mfunye message ya URA, what? Please come. Then you think, what is it? You go and check. It's just a reminder. It's no problem. They're just reminding you. There is no trouble. But then if you are now this one who is saying that they have 2 million to pay. How does he know that there is 2 million for him to pay?
Maybe they sent. Maybe they communicated and.
Okay, okay. What I'm trying to get to is maybe you need somebody to first look into the tin to assess the exact problem. You could be blowing things out of
You may
proportion.
have self-diagnosed and you're diagnosing
First diagnose the thing and know the exact problem with the tin, because in most cases people do not know about these tax things, so they always imagine the worst when it comes to URA. Always imagine the worst. So yes, you opened up a tin and you've been abandoning it for some time. Does it have the obligations to file? Because, for example, if your tin number is it was because the tin numbers, there's individual with business income, there's individual with employment income. People who have employment income do not have obligation to file returns. It is their employer to file returns on their behalf via pay. It is individuals with business income that must file. Now, we need to check the tin status. Which category does it fall? If it is an employee, there's no need to file returns. But if it is a business income, it means at some point you registered a business name. Remember, there is a difference between business name and a company incorporating. So business name, it means you are just a sole proprietor. Your tin is individual with business income. There you're supposed to file returns every year, income tax. So now if you just opened up the tin and you have not been filing, where you've not been in business, you've not been doing anything, you approach your supervisor, it means that if there are those things on your tin saying that you're supposed to pay the 2 million, it must have come in form of an assessment. Assessments can be objected. You can object to the assessment and you're like, you guys are telling me I should pay this, but I was not working. So you will object to the assessment, and to prove, they'll ask you for like your bank statement for that period to prove that you've not been receiving income, and the case will be closed. If it is a matter of not paying penalty, of not filing returns, there are penalties associated with it. Like we mentioned earlier, it is about engaging the URL officials, or it's about, you can apply for penalty reversal. You give your reasons why it should be, the penalty should either entirely be reversed or partially be reversed. Well, if your case is convincing, the guy might say yes. If it's not convincing, the guy will say no. And you will have to maybe agree on a payment plan, installments and stuff like that, and you clear that liability. But the bottom line is, if your details are already with URA, that you have a team, they have your details. If you're going to run away and say, I'm going to create something else and ignore this one, it won't work, because they will eventually catch up with you. Yeah, unless the entity you want to create is completely dissociated from you. You're going to use other people's names, other people's credentials, and operate.
And the company is practically going to be the company is practically going to be theirs.
Yeah. That is because your details are already with the issues. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, but this is common. Like, it is simple information. I think something like this should be included somewhere in entrepreneurship when it's senior 6, senior 5. So that.
Oh no! By the way, I was looking through the papers. I think this week, and I saw National Council going through a revision of the curriculum, and they're talking about including now basic tax education.
Yeah.
For the forthcoming year. So I think prior to that, anyone can correct us in the comments. I think prior to that, there was
nothing. And there are a lot of people that are suffering unnecessarily because they do not know. And it's information. At least it should be basic knowledge that when I open up a tin, they are filing obligations at least.
In their defense, and maybe this is just bad manners from thingy. I think, yes, ignorance of the law is not a defense, but I think the fact that you also need to take the responsibility to educate yourself, like you have to go out of your way to learn these things. I know, yes, it is unfortunate that some of these things in Uganda are not very accessible. I mean, if you can gauge from, let's say, from the creator community, how many people sit down to address these things and how many people actually need this information. Of course, I also understand it is very intimidating for you to want to go to your area and say, please help me.
Yeah.
But I also need to commend them. I mean, they have a YouTube channel that does this. They also have, I think it's a TV or a podcast or a radio, something like that. Yeah, they are trying. But I also get, like, from the Ugandan perspective, like, it is still intimidating. I mean, maybe to see them in their shirts and you're just thinking, oh my God.
Yeah, and by the way, it is intimidating. You are shows up with in their uniform, and people
And
start
you just
whispering, and they're like, "We mwana kasajja kakola ekakola kiwani kiki kye baagala." Yeah,
you see, but like, I don't know. I think we need to mitigate, or we just need to have that culture shift, because information is power. I honestly feel like information is power, and sometimes all someone needs is just a little bit of information, and it will go a long way to inform or alter the decision they will make. Because most people make so many mistakes because they do not know.
Yeah.
They're just ignorant. And it is just unfortunate, like you said, legally speaking, or before the tax man, you cannot say, I did not know. It is not going to protect you. So maybe I think with your combined effort from here, I think maybe we can solve that. We can try to maybe get that information to you, but still at the end of the day, you have to educate yourself and you have to be intentional about it.
Yeah.
Like, do your own research. I think also, like you said, when you go back to challenge the tax assessment, if you are informed, you come from a better position because you say, okay, you know what, you've given me that assessment, but I know my right. I know I can challenge this. I know this is what I can appeal it. You're not the final say, and I have information to justify that. So yes, I think those are all the questions we had. There are 2 pending questions, but those will be addressed next week because they are heavy. And this particular episode was mainly just to highlight and brush over. So there will be part 2 to this effect to address any other questions that haven't been addressed in this video and that are also in the comments. So thank you very much, Arnold. If you'd like to give any parting shots to the people, because this is going to be repurposed. It's going to be on the Ask Me About the Law channel. It's also going to be on his. It's also going to be on the Ask Me About the Law podcast, and the mini series will be on the Ask Me About the Law socials. It is TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, and LinkedIn. So any parting shots?
First of all, thank you very much for having me, Joanne, and ask me about the law.
This was fun. I enjoyed this.
Yeah,
and it was very, very educated.
I enjoyed this too. Well, in a nutshell, it is expensive now. It is expensive not to know about taxes, especially if you are a businessman. You are into even when you're not a businessman, you're an individual. It is expensive not to know, because if you do not know, it's going to cost you. And just like Evelyn said, you do not before the law, you can't say I didn't know. So you'll be taken as one that was expected to know. So people need to change their mindset about taxes. They need to know their obligations about taxes, and they need to learn how to manage their tax affairs. Because if they do not, the Muganda says wanasulayo gwanagamba. If they are negligent about educating themselves about taxes, it is not in their best interest. It will end up hurting them in the long run. So get your tax education, as in get a big interest in knowing about taxes, and yeah, let's develop Uganda together.
Alternatively, hire someone who knows.
Yeah,
Hire someone who knows what they're
yeah.
doing.
By
Hire
the way,
someone
yes, hiring someone who knows is one thing. You see, it's like,
that have basic income, have a
yeah,
basic
yeah, have
understanding so
some
that
basic
you can tell.
understanding. It is like lawyers. It is me who stole. Yeah. Yes, whereas you're going to defend me before the judge, it is me who stole. So whereas
Mm-hmm.
you're going to represent me before the courts of law to tell in the to formulate my defense in the legal jargon, I am the one to tell. I think I can't entirely dissociate myself from probably the strategy you're going to use, because it is me who committed the crime. It is me who was there. So my basic understanding, the basic information that I'll give you regarding the crime, will better prepare you to defend me better. So it's the same with taxes. You hire a tax
Mm.
consultant, but this is your business. You have no one has your business's interest at heart the way you do. So you're
Mm-hmm.
hiring this person because he's an expert in tax. What? Yes, but when he's advising you on things, on how to go about things, it helps that you have a better understanding. Yes, he's telling you I should go this direction, but does that make sense to me? Because this is my business. Does it make sense to me? Does it work? Like you exchange rather than leaving the entire responsibility to him. Because if you leave the entire responsibility to them, in case there are repercussions, it's not him facing the repercussions, it's you. And so it helps that you
Mm-hmm.
have some basic knowledge of these things.
And I think maybe also if you hire someone and they're doing something and it looks off,
Yeah,
the only way you can know that things are a bit off and you're not trusting someone entirely, blindly, like
yeah.
they're the beginning and the end, the infinity.
Mm,
If you have a basic idea,
mm,
you could know that, okay, something is off. Maybe I should maybe ask from someone else, maybe get a third or fourth opinion about this. The same way you go to a doctor and
yeah,
you're telling them your problem and you feel like they are not addressing it, like they're not helping you feel better. Then you get a second opinion and a third, and eventually, you find someone who is tailored to you,
yeah,
but you can only get that because and they're also bringing results. So I totally agree with you. Have at least a basic idea. You do not need to understand the whole very technical complex of it. If you want to,
mm,
it will come handy. But you do not need to understand the technical bit to the T. You just need to have the functioning concept. If you want to learn in detail, it is okay. But the essence is, do not be 100% ignorant.
yeah,
Do not be 100%
yeah.
ignorant.
It is expensive.
Yes. Anyway, so that is all we had for this episode. This episode has been a combined initiative of Arnold. I am going to leave linked to his channels in the description box. They're going to be links to his channels. You have to check them out. This gentleman has taken the initiative to hold your hand and walk you through taxes. Like you have to go and check him out, and you don't have an excuse because I'm going to leave all the links in the description box of this video, so please check them out. If you have any more questions that you'd like us to address, please leave them in the comments. I think he is going to be in the comments. I'm also going to be in the comments. We're going to be in the comments interacting, so leave those questions in there and they will be addressed. Until next week's video, next Sunday's video. We'll see you then. Arnold, like to say bye to the people?
Parting shots again. My yes, goodbye to
Awesome.
everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Joanne, from Ask Me About the Law, from having me here, for having me. Um, signing out.